Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
Incinerate!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got a super interesting knife unboxing to share with you guys. We have something from Arcane Design. It's been a bit, and I missed their last knife, which I feel terrible about because it was really interesting. But they did have something that I had not seen yet, something that I can't believe they haven't done, unless they have done it. I just didn't know about it. But I can't believe they haven't done this up until this point, if this is their first one. Not typically the type of knife that I showcase, but as I've always said, if it's interesting, if it's different, if it's something that catches my eye, I will definitely look at it. These apparently have already dropped. They dropped on October 3rd, and it's this. If you're not familiar with Arcane Design, it's gonna be a polarizing aesthetic. I personally like the way that these look. Not everybody does, but that's totally fine. Definitely the mission, behind, the designer's work is to create something that is a very specific aesthetic and very striking. And it is definitely that. So I can't wait to check it out. Thanks so much to Arcane Design for sending it in. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me. What do we have here? So this is the Necronaut fixed blade. I got so excited when I read this because I looked at the website and all the different versions. And there's a bunch of really cool versions, the different colors and things. But I was like, man, that red looks awesome. So let's see what we've got. Oh boy, thank you for purchasing this Arcane Design product. Arcane Design was formed out of the desire to explore the unknown and discover its aesthetic. Inspired by themes of sci-fi and horror, we strive to create unique tools that balance uncompromising utility with inspiring design. We are grateful for your support and hope you enjoy this tool for years to come. Israel Bacchus, and I am almost certain that I pronounced your last name incorrectly. Sorry about that. Owner, Arcane Design. What do we got? Look at that. Oh, man, that's so cool. I remember the first time, and a lot of you guys have been watching since back when I originally unboxed the Necronaut, and I was blown away by that thing with this super aggro tanto and this really futuristic kind of sci-fi, just like you said, kind of sci-fi, almost like space weapon look, and it was so different. Still is. It's very, very different from what we typically see, right? I just really, really liked the look. This red aluminum looks awesome, and it's textured in a super pleasing way. Is it subtly contoured? I think, yeah, it definitely is. Subtle contouring here on the aluminum, nice bevels. What do we have for the blade steel? If my memory serves me correct, the blade is MagnaCut. Now, on a fixed blade, which you could argue that this, this style of fixed blade is not optimized for the general scope of fixed blade tasks. And I would say we'd have to sit down and split hairs on that argument for hours, which I'm not going to do. But generally speaking, if you were to lay out MagnaCut appropriate HRC for pocket knife and typical pocket knife geometry, it's going to need to be on the higher end. If you lay it out for MagnaCut HRC for a fixed blade, when considering fixed blade specific tasks, you would definitely want it not low, not soft, but on the lower end of the optimal range. So the scope of the optimal range, according to Laren Thomas, the person behind MagnaCut, is 60 to 64. Typically in pocket knives, we tend to like to see MagnaCut. I'm talking folding knives with appropriate geometry for cutting tasks, right? Continuous cutting tasks. Typically, the community prefers to see the hardness between 62 and 64, right? Usually, we really celebrate when it's 63, 64. I would agree with that. On a fixed blade, 63, 64 MagnaCut, no, we don't want that. That's not, like typically what you're going to use a fixed blade for is not straight up abuse, but definitely tasks that would lean more towards the side of abuse, right? You would be using a fixed blade harder in a setting that would demand more from your knife. So a higher HRC, even with MagnaCut being a steel that has a great balance of toughness, probably not that hard. That's not what you want. You want it a little lower. I'm sure there's people that are going to argue with me. Whatever. You can think what you want. Me being a professional of nothing, just using my little human brain, I would say I would want it on the lower end. So he has it listed at 61 to 62. I think some people would prefer it even lower, 60, 61, whatever. I think that's fine. I think the MagnaCut's going to work perfectly. Behind the edge on this compound grind, super duper thin. Wowzers. That is really, really aggressively thin back there. Man. So we have the super aggressive Tanto blade. I think these also come in a black version, right? But yeah, straight edge, just full on Tanto. Yeah, really bitey up front. Really, really bitey up front. Obviously, no, the paper cut test, again, I have to say this every time because somebody sees it as an opportunity to educate. Cutting paper doesn't actually prove anything about the cutting geometry. Oh! Shut up! All we're doing is testing the factory edge. Obviously, your experience in terms of cutting something is going to vary widely depending on what it is that you are cutting, right? So, sliciness at the edge does not determine how well it performs in all scenarios, right? Did I cover all the bases there, or do you need to go down there and give me bullet points? I'm joking. No, I'm not. But yeah, the edge down here, definitely like separating this statement from what I just did with the paper. Down here it feels nice and thin. The cutting edge, the factory cutting edge is definitely sharp, and it feels nice and slicey, passes through the material, something like paper very easily. But this blade shape with there being no belly and it being a Tanto is obviously not optimized for slicing or anything like that. So there's a number of variables, right? We could turn this into a 40-minute discussion about hardness, geometry, steel, every single time I pull out a knife, but I'd rather not do that. The problem is that some people need it to be a discussion every single time I cut a piece of paper. It is insane to read this stuff day in and day out, right? But anyways, what are you going to do? I mean, that's part of it. This is really, really cool, though. I do like this. I like that gray shield there on top of the red aluminum. Why not titanium? I don't know. I mean, honestly, for a fixed blade, if we're in this territory, right? I mean, is titanium or aluminum even the most optimized material? I think that the idea here is that he wanted to capture the same aesthetic that he's been capturing and just translate it to a fixed blade. So given that red is not a color that you can achieve with titanium, the choice for aluminum was probably simply to achieve that red color that he clearly likes so much. I think that's really neat. This does look good, right? These are going to be pricey. And honestly, I don't know at the moment who OEM'd these. I mean, in the past, he has worked with Riot. He's also worked with Bestech. My guess is that these are made by Bestech. These are small batch products, right? I mean, he's not, he doesn't have like 1,000 of these laying around. So the price is definitely going to be a little bit higher. But I believe I saw the starting pre-order price at $300 or $295, which is admittedly high, definitely, right? So this is going to be geared towards specific people who, number one, are looking for a fixed blade, but number two, looking for specifically that Arcane design aesthetic, right? Which is going to be a much smaller portion of our population. The whole reason I wanted to check this out is because I like the aesthetic and I wanted to see how it felt translated as a fixed blade. And honestly, it's pretty comfortable. It's pretty cool, right? I would just here would be my reasoning for carrying this around. It would legitimately just be, I'm sure you guys are like, are you ever going to show the sheath? Sorry. In my mind, there was no sheath, right? Until I started considering, well, what if I want to carry it, right? I would carry this around for no other reason than it's just cool. I mean, I wouldn't be like, which fixed blade is perfectly optimized for the tasks laid out in front of me today. Nope. I would be like, what do I feel like carrying? I want to carry something that's super aggressive and really cool. I think I'll carry the fixed Necronaut, right? Here's something cool. This is not what I would call a huge fixed blade. So in some of the pockets that I have, this might fit. I mean, obviously there's a couple of different ways that you can carry this. But this is still within the general size of fixed blade that I might carry if I wanted to carry a fixed blade for that day, which admittedly is very rare. I don't need a fixed blade. So most of the time, I'm only going to carry a fixed blade if I just feel like it. If I just want to be a fixed blade guy for the day while I walk around my property or go to the grocery store, right? But I do think this is really cool. And I think some people will really like it. that's going to be it today, guys. Thanks so much to Arcane Design for letting me check this out. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.